What is up, y'all? Today I'm packing for a week-long filmmaking trip, capturing some mountain biking in British Columbia. I thought I'd take apart my gear, show you everything that I'm bringing, and tell you a little bit of why I'm bringing it along. If you're new around here, on this channel, I talk filmmaking tips and tricks and take you behind the scenes of the shoots that I go on. So if that's interesting to you, I hope you'll think about hitting that subscribe button down below. The film that I'm working on is in collaboration with Mark Matthews. We're going to be traveling to the mainland of British Columbia, heading up the coast, and then looping through the interior of BC. Along the whole way, we'll be hitting up Mark's favorite spots to ride and capturing lifestyle footage that brings forward a vibe of summer road tripping with your friends, getting out there riding, and having lots of fun. Everything is packed into Pelican cases to keep it safe on the road, keep away the dust, keep away the rain, and have everything nice and organized. On the road, this is how I'll move, but once I'm actually on the trail, I'll be using this backpack. This is my favorite bag. This is the Mindshift Rotation 360. I believe this is the Horizon in terms of sizing. I really love this bag. It does a great job of letting me accessing my gear quickly, and it's nice and small. So I'll pack everything into there out of these boxes as we get to each shoot location. All the products we talk about today will be linked up in the description down below. Just know that those are affiliate links, and I'll get a small commission that goes into supporting the channel if you purchase anything using those links. Let's get into this first box. This is the Pelican 1510. Really like this case. I've got it set up with the Trek Pack inside, which is a really nice divider system that allows you to organize your gear and keep it safe. As most of you probably know, the GH5 is the foundation of my setup. I love this camera. It gives me a lot of flexibility. The reason that I use this camera over anything else is because I get 10-bit over HDMI that I can record really high quality footage into ProRes. I also really love that I can mount the speed booster on here and be able to use Canon glass and get some really nice images from this camera. I've got it set up with a small rig cage. This allows me to mount all of my extra gear that I need to connect to this. I've got a NATO rail set up here, and then just an extra cold shoe mount on this. I've got the Sigma 18-35 mounted on here. Everybody knows this lens. It's a great workhorse, has a really nice focus ring and really wide open aperture, so you can get nice blurry backgrounds or shoot in lower light situations. So this will be the main workhorse for this shoot. It's really nice working handheld with this lens. Adds a little bit of weight to the camera, which is a pro and a con, but makes those handheld shots nice and stable. I'm trying out a new lens this time around that I'm borrowing from a friend. I'm pretty excited to give this one a go. It's the Rokinon 14 millimeter. Sometimes I find when I'm filming mountain biking, I just can't get that wide angle that I want. So I'm going to go a little bit wider with this, with the 14 mil. This will be about a 20 millimeter equivalent on the crop sensor with the speed booster. It's going to be fun to give this one a go. I think the main thing about this that I'm concerned about is I can't mount any filters on this because it has a sort of convex shaped lens element, but I think that'll be okay. It has a really nice focus ring on it. Next up is the Panasonic 35-100. This is a really nice small lens to get that reach you need. It gives you a 200 millimeter equivalent. It's an f2.8, so it opens up pretty wide and it's nice and small. So I'll be primarily using this to capture more artistic shots where I'm trying to bring some compression into the shot and maybe have some foreground elements that are obscuring part of the frame. That'll be the primary purpose of this guy. Super small, easy to throw in the bag, so it's one that I always want to bring with. We'll be recording everything into the Ninja 5. I just got this back repaired. I'm really stoked with Adamus's job repairing this. The fan on it was quite loud, and after servicing it, the fan is really quiet. So that's going to be really nice for shooting. So Adamus will be used to record everything into 10-bit ProRes 422. I'll be shooting in Vlog off the GH5, and this makes monitoring Vlog really nice. There's waveforms on here. I can turn LUTs on and off to see what that's going to look like at the end of the day. Works really well if you need to shoot Vlog. Often I'll shoot in the natural profile if I'm looking for a quick turnaround on things or if it's a vlog or something like that. But for my paid shoots, I really like to shoot Vlog. It gives me more dynamic range, and the overall image quality I get, I feel like is better. I can't explain why, but it looks better to me. And so I'll be shooting this entire video in Vlog and working with LUTs in post to bring that up to a Rec 709 profile. This little NATO rail mount is super convenient. I can slide this right onto this bar here. Lock it in. I've got a nice swivel mount. I've got a bunch of L-series batteries. These are what the Ninja runs on, and I can also use these if I need to charge batteries through an adapter that I have that I'll show you in a little bit. Got a variable ND filter. This is the SLR Magic. And then this is, I believe this is a Hoya circular polarizer. I'll use the polarizer if I'm ever in a forested situation and we've got sunlight that's reflecting off vegetation or anything like that. It really brings out the saturation and makes the image just pop so nice. So use the polarizer quite a bit. And then if I'm in bright situations, obviously you need an ND filter if you want to shoot wider open stuff. So this ends up being on my camera a fair amount. Bunch of extra batteries. So I carry about 4 GH5 batteries. I don't have it in here right now because I'm filming with it, but there is a G85 in here along with the Rode Video Micro. That's what I use for all my BTS shooting. I also use it for time lapse. So I bring it with, even though I might not even use it in the shoot at all. It's super small. Cleaning kit, super important when you are shooting around dust and water. You always have to make sure your lens is clean. Got the Aperture M9 light in here. Probably won't actually use this, but it's so small, I just leave it in here. And then finally, Pelican case full of SD cards. I love this little case. Just load it up with what I've got. Next up, we have audio equipment and my computer for dumping footage. In here, we've just got some extra cables. It's not too exciting. Hard drive and card readers and SSD hard drive reader in this bag here. Laptop is in the bottom of this. I'm not going to pull it out, but it's stored in this case as well. We've got headphones for monitoring audio. Next piece that's going to get connected to the rig is just this little shock mount for the microphone. I'm going to start using the Sennheiser MKE 600. I usually only use this as a boom microphone, but I was finally able to find a cable locally that allows me to connect this directly into the GH5 without having to have an external recording device that can take XLR. So there's a XLR to 1/8 inch plug. Basically, I go from the XLR on the microphone to the 1/8 inch that goes into the camera. And then this microphone is really nice because you can actually open it up and inside you've got a spot to put a AA battery that can provide your power. So you don't need phantom power for this mic. So I'm going to give that a try this time and see how that goes. I think the quality of this is quite a bit better than the Rode, and it's a bit more directional, which also will be nice for kind of eliminating some of that extra noise that you might get. Got a nice furry on here to block the wind. This is going to be mounted on here. About like that. Other things that we have in here is a backup for audio. So if for some reason this cable stops working, I can run my XLR through this and into the GH5. It's not ideal. It definitely makes the rig a lot heavier, a lot less mobile, but works in a pinch. I think it's always good to have backups in a situation like this. And then finally, bringing the Zoom H1. We're going to try something a little bit different for capturing some audio in this, particularly for when we're flying the drone. We want to capture some of that bike sounds. So that's what we're going to use the H1 for. And that's pretty much the main setup. So I don't have the wires hooked up to this, but there'll be a line coming from the mic and a line coming from the Ninja going into this, and I'll hook up my headphones into here, and that's what I'll be running with. So this will be on a tripod at times, and I'm also going to be rocking a lot of it handheld. If I go to the gimbal, I will probably end up mounting this microphone on the gimbal handle, or I might put the Rode Video Micro onto the camera for those situations. And the Ninja comes off and mounts to the side of the Ronin S. So it slims the setup down for the gimbal to make it not too crazy heavy. Next up is the tripod. This is the Benro Aero 7. This is a really great tripod. It's pretty heavy, but what I really love about it is it can go quite high. And then on top of that, we've got a nice leveling ball head. So we can just loosen this and be able to tip this whatever direction that we need to get the tripod nice and level. Sometimes in the forest, it's difficult to get the feet level. And so this leveling of the head is an easy way to get the shot you need. And then I'll also be bringing a secondary smaller tripod that's currently being used to film this. And I'll use that for setting up behind the scenes shots, or if I need to do any sort of time lapse while I'm doing the rest of my filming, I can set up the G85 on that. And of course, it never fails. You might as well bring the GorillaPod. You never know when you're going to need it. It's great for vlogging, great for BTS. Sometimes you can get creative shots with this. It's super small, so I always bring it with. Next up is the drone. I've got the Mavic 2 Pro, and I've found this really small case. It's from Smartree. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's a really slim case and packs a lot of stuff in it. So inside here, I've got a drone, the batteries in the drone, and then I've got 2 extra batteries. I've got a slot for an extra one. I just don't have the battery for it. ND filters and polarizer filters. And then I've also got a car charger that allows me to charge 2 batteries at a time, so I can get charged up in about an hour. Charges the controller and the 2 batteries. And drone shots are going to be a big part of this video, and so we need to be regularly keeping those batteries charged up to make sure that we can get all the shots that we need. We'll be flying both under tree cover and wider shots, so we want to have plenty of drone battery power to do that. But love this case, fits right inside my backpack and is really convenient for that. Next up is the gimbal. I'm not going to pull this apart and set it up. Most of you have seen this guy, but this is the Ronin S. When I'm out on the actual shoot, I'll set the gimbal up and I'll mount it on the side of my bag. And it's a little bit precarious, receives a bit of damage, but it works. And I don't use this that much, but it's nice to have it with. There's certain shots that you just can't pull off without a gimbal. And then last is this little bag from Shimoda. This is a really nice way to store all the junk, basically. I don't have a lot of organization in here, but I keep some tools and extra like screws and things like that if I need them here. And then inside this larger pocket, it's all sorts of stuff. So we've got extra HDMI cables, some extra XLR cables, lots of extra charging things. I've got a dummy battery in here if I want to run the camera off of Sony batteries. And then I think the one thing in here that I'll probably use most is the blind spot power junkie. So I can hook up a Sony L-series battery to this, and then I can charge things using this. So I've got a couple different chargers for my camera batteries, as well as a power bank. So between all of these things, I can charge things on the road because we won't be always getting to a town where we can charge things up. Plus, it takes a lot of time to do that. So this gives us some mobile charging capabilities, and I can charge my Sony L-series batteries from the power bank with this or off of a car. So that's the gear I'm bringing, and this is the setup I'll be shooting with. It's probably more equipment than I actually need, but because we're traveling in a vehicle, I can bring a little bit of extra, have some backups, and then if something goes sideways, we're not stuck in a situation where we can't shoot. If you've got any questions about the rig, drop them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to them. I'm not sure that I'll have cell phone reception for the whole week that I'm gone, so some of it might have to wait until I return. But until then, get out there, make something beautiful, and I will see you all soon. Peace.